Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how to make thumbnails. Now, this could be for anything, but this is mainly going to be for Sea of Thieves because as a beginner, I wanted to make Sea of Thieves thumbnails, and I didn't really know the best way to make them because there are like 0 tutorials. I look up how to make Sea of Thieves thumbnail. I get nothing. So I hope this video helps you. I'll be using a free software called GIMP. You could also use paint.net. I used to use paint.net, but GIMP is a bit stronger. The tools are better on GIMP, so I swapped to GIMP. It's a little bit confusing at first, but I taught myself. I think you guys can too. But if you were able to follow along with this tutorial, please drop a like, comment down below if it helped you, and I'll make more like these. Alright, so once you're in GIMP, you're going to want to do Control N and to create a side. The image size, you're going to want it to be 1920 by 1080. You're going to also want to click the plus here for advanced options, scroll down. Or I guess you don't have to scroll down, but you're going to want to click on fill width, change that to transparency. That way, when you press OK, you'll get a transparent background. But another way you could create a image is by going to File, click New right here. It even tells you the shortcut if you don't know. But then you're going to want to get a background image for your thumbnail. And let's just say we're going to do something simple. So we're going to do a gradient. Now, these are my colors right here that I use. Right here. These are my colors, my color theme. Choose the color you want, but I'm going to drag, click and drag my gradient down here. This little button right here determines how far your gradient goes. I want it to be right about here. Then you're going to click enter on your keyboard. And then now you have your background. Let's say you want to add a border to your thumbnail. You're going to want to come over to select, then come down to border, but you see how it's gray? In order to get that, you're going to want to come over to background, alpha to selection. So now you're highlighting your entire canvas. So now when you go to cast, you could click grow or border. We're going to do border. And then let's say I want my border to be 8 pixels, which I recommend. You're going to click OK. Now, if you come over to your bucket tool, we want our color to be white for our border. Make this whatever you want. Come over here, fill it in. Now you have a white border around your thumb. Now, I do recommend we're going to do Control Z. Instead of doing this, you're going to get your outline, come down here, create a new layer. We're going to name this outline for background. So now we have our outline background here. Now we're going to come over to our paint tool, which is Shift plus B. Zoom in, click it. Now we have that white outline. Next, we're going to do Control Shift A to deselect our image. Now you could also come over to select and click none. It tells you Shift plus Control Shift A. And then after that, you're going to come over to filters, go to blur, go to Gaussian blur, and you're going to make that a little bit high. And then you'll get that nice, cool outline that you see in thumbnails right here on the edges. It's really nice, really nice. Let's say we want to get some text. I'm going to drag and click for our text box. This is a Sea of Thieves thumbnail, so let's use some Sea of Thieves text, right? So I'm going to type in windless medium. You have to download this. So in order to get this windless medium font, you have to install it to your computer, and that is pretty simple. I'll show you how to do it at the end of the video, so keep watching. And now we're going to click in our text box and type how to make Sea of Thieves thumbnails. Now we want this text to be a little bit bigger, so we're gonna come over here and do that. So right here it's pretty self-explanatory. So just customize text, type whatever you want there, make the font as big as you need it to be, etc., etc. Mess around with it, make it the size. Like I said, I'm gonna be skipping to the part where we design the text and make it look better. So okay, so now we have all of our text. This looks really boring. We want our text to pop out more and look more creative. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the thumbnail one. We're going to right click, alpha to select. Now it's going to outline the text. You're going to come over to select. You're going to click on grow. We're going to make it grow by 5 pixels. And then we're going to create a new one. We're going to name this outline. And now we'll have a new thing. So now you're going to want to click on your thing. And we're going to make it black. You can make it whatever you want. But boom. Now like what? That doesn't look right. You're going to drag this layer under thumbnail. And then you'll see that there is an outline around it. And it pops out a little bit more. But we're not done yet. You want this to pop out even more and look better than it ever has. So now you're gonna do the same thing with this one. Alpha to select, come over here, select grow. Now we're gonna do 7 pixels since our 8 pixels would be way too much for this text here we're using. But yeah, so 7 pixels larger. Then we're gonna do a new one by clicking the new layer over here. Gonna make it outline again. So it'll be outline #1 because you have more than one layer here. And then we are simply going to bring it down below outline. And this one is going to be white, even though the text is white. Now, the text is white, but we could change that later on. It doesn't have to be white, but you'll see what we're going to do. So get your bucket tool, make it white. It's already dragged under, so now you have that white outline. Now we're going to do Control-Shift-A. Make sure you're deselected from the text. Go to Filters. Go to Blur. We want Gaussian Blur. And now we could kind of like highlight the text, you know? You want the text to glow a little bit, you know, kind of pop out. Boom. Let's say you don't want Gaussian Blur. Do Control-Z. Go to Blur. Let's say you want zoom motion blur. You know? You want it coming from this angle. A little bit downwards, though. Now, something like that. It's gonna look weird because, if I'm being honest, the Sea of Thieves font doesn't really go well with motion blur, but I'd use a more cartoony font if you're gonna do motion blur. We're gonna go back, add the Gaussian blur. We don't want it to be too much. 4.75 should be good for this kind of thumbnail. And boom. Now we're going to double click this. We're going to change the name to text because that is our text we have right here. So after that, we want to add a Sea of Thieves character. So we're going to create a new canvas. It doesn't matter what color it is, but you know, Sea of Thieves characters creations. Okay, so I found this picture. This is what we are going to use right here. So, copy the image, bring it back over. Then we're going to paste it right in here. Zoom in. this is going to be the time consuming part. Now you see how it says floating selection? What you could either do is anchor it and it'll make this one with the background, or for say the layer that's below it. Or we could make it its own layer by creating create new layer, which will make it its own layer, which is what we're going to want to do. Alright, so I found an image and I have it in my thumbnail now. And as you can see, there's these little thingies, and we're just going to get the eraser tool. Pretty straightforward. And we're just kind of going to erase the edges a little bit. Just clean it up a little bit. Kind of like so. Now, because this image is a little bit too big, we're simply going to size it down an inch. Now, we have all this dust and stuff, let's just say. You know, all this color that doesn't blend in well, and we're just going to erase that. So, this looks pretty good. But we want it to be below our text. I don't know what this is doing here, but we're just going to leave that. So, we want our text to be on top, and we have our layer, and we are going to move it down towards the bottom. Now, his hand and everything, that doesn't look so good, so we're gonna come over to where his arm is, and we're kind of just gonna cut it out. We're actually just going to do a little erase. And we're just going to click transform. So here it is. So after looking this over, I just noticed a tiny little mistake right here. We don't want that. So we're going to go onto the layer and kind of just clean that up a little bit. And basically, you're just going to want to go around, like for right here, for example, I just found that. I want to clean that up a little bit. And basically, you just go around doing that. Because this is just a how-to, I'm not gonna be that detailed. Because, like, you know, we got it all over the place, you know. We don't want to dent his head, so you have to be a little kind of careful when going around, because you don't want to mess things up. Now, I will get these tiny little pieces because they do kind of, like, stick out. You know, we don't want to be putting dents in anybody's head, so... And we got some glow because of the text. But basically, this is how you make a thumbnail